guys, a long time no see, so I really don't have much to say. Answer any questions. Just a couple quick general comments. I'm very satisfied with where we're at right now. A year ago this time, we were getting ready to start our 4 a.m. or 5 a.m., whatever it was, conversations outside, after people were late for meetings. We're still trying to finalize our staff, and we had a group of offensive linemen that we really didn't have much confidence in and trust in. And so a year later, a lot of good positive things. We've got to get a lot better in a lot of areas. However, it's just a whole different approach, and that's our mantra is going to be truth, and our mantra is going to be fundamental improvement. Truth means exactly, you have a good season, and there's a lot of conversation about things that really shouldn't be discussed because it's not true. For example, you guys are going to do this next year. No, probably not, unless we do a lot better, like a lot better. And then fundamentally, we are not where we need to be. And the biggest thing, I was fortunate enough to be at the championship game, and I think probably the best fundamental team that I've certainly seen this year won that game. And that's with leverage, it's with tackling, blocking, tackling, and all the things that how you win football games. So a lot to be done. The next 3 weeks, obviously, is going to be a very strong emphasis on closing a very good class at this time. We like our class. Usually, not usually, as with most classes, how you finish is what determines if you love the class. And you got to hold on to what there's a lot of chaos right now with new staff, new coaches, trying to take your players and all that kind of stuff. So we just got to keep recruiting our players and keep going. We have some new players in the program that started on a lot of announcements, right? Tracy Sprinkle is on campus. Cam Burrows, Eli Apple, Taekwon Lewis, and J.T. Barrett. William Houston and Devin Hill. Those are 2 young men that are walk-ons that are joined our team, and they're active in our off-season program.
All right,
so that's it. I'll answer any questions for you.
Steve?
Yeah, Coach Steve Howlag and Bucknuts 24/7. Just what was your overall feeling being on the field at that game? I'm sure part of it was something you brought back to these guys to say, hey, we've got to get there next year. You've coached that game before, but just this time around, what did you get from being down there?
I just don't know. For me to say we have to get there next year, I mean, that's like talking about we have to go fly to the moon. We're nowhere near even had that conversation. That's not. What we really have to do, we have to find out who can play defensive line for us. We lost some really good players because who we have at their current status, what they are right now, we won't. To have that conversation, we just got to win that first game. Because, we're going to have conversation. Matter of fact, we have a team meeting today. The way you termed it won't be a term, but there'll be some conversation where we need to improve. And it'll be a target. I'm not saying that's a target yet either, because that's not fair to put that and say, there's some guys that can't do that at their physical stature right now. If they improve, then we'll have that conversation at the appropriate time.
Right in front, Austin.
Austin Ward, ESPN.com. Urban, aside from not having those practices during the bowl season, the last 6 weeks, would you consider it a success, or how would you evaluate keeping the staff together? I think Bradley said he was going to return. He had some good things mixed in there.
The last 6 weeks, most importantly, fundamentally, as a football team, we really improved defensively. Jerry did a good job putting together a little statistical analysis. We're one of the better defenses in the country. What we did, obviously, was very, very good. Wisconsin team, obviously, the second half of the game against our rival, there was some excellent football being played. Certainly on the defensive side of the ball, and that takes into consideration where it was in the first half of the season. The fact that our coaching staff remains intact is important. We had 4 guys that had some people trying to discuss, head coaching opportunities for them, and I hope that happens for some of them. I'm kind of glad it doesn't happen after just 1 year. After 2 years, I always ask for just a 2-year commitment. I think that's fair, and so it's good. So I'm very pleased. The last 6 weeks have been very productive. We've got some commitments from some very good players. But once again, until signing day, we'll know that they're part of the family.
You referenced the recruiting aspect of it. I know you can't talk specifics, but with this SEC run that they're on, there's all this talk that the skill position players in the Southeast, the Midwest can't keep up. You've recruited some of both. Do you think that that's fair to say that the Southeast skill position players are far ahead of the Midwest?
I think the Southeast right now, the quantity is far greater than the quantity of the upper level Midwestern schools. To say that there's, the NFL draft shows you that there'll be some very good players drafted. The numbers I imagine, and this is just speculation, but I've coached in both conferences now, so it's really not speculation anymore. It's fact, it's an opinion. It's just the quantity is far greater right now, and so it's up to the Big Ten to change that. There's one way to do it, power recruit, get some more depth. But to say there's not quality football players in the Big Ten, that's not correct. You'll see that on draft day. There'll be some very good players drafted. The quantity is the biggest difference.
Tim?
Tim Knight on the Dispatch. Urban, a couple of questions. Number one, how far does JT Barrett, from a rehab situation, what kind of condition is he in right now? And just maybe update that a little bit.
I'm hoping he brings a little something that our quarterback position can use, and that's a grinder, a guy that's just nonstop. The Alex Smiths of the world, it's just they wake up in the morning and are quarterback all day long. They go to sleep, and the next day they wake up again and they're quarterback all day long. So if he can provide that, he's a talented guy. He had ACL surgery, so he'll be limited as far as contact. But from everything I'm hearing, he'll be able to throw and do the off-season program, not the running part.
Yeah.
But I'm not worried about him doing that part.
We asked you about Alabama a while ago. As you watched them Monday night, where did you guys, can you quantify where you guys have to get to match something?
Well, this is interesting, and I said this on TV. He said A&M
Yeah.
beat them. Georgia could have beat them. LSU could have beat them. And they sound like won the national championship, so it tells you a little bit about that conference. Where are we? I don't like to be on speculation. I think we're a very good team that can compete with any team in the country. I didn't feel that way early in the year, even the middle of the year. But the last game, I even said that after the season. That's where I believe we are. To say that we can roll in there and beat a team like that, first of all, I don't want to speculate in it. If I was going to give you an honest answer right now, I think there's too many holes to fill.
And then following up on that, Bradley Roby said he's coming back. Jonathan Hankins left. Do you have assurances from everyone else that they're bad and solid and going to be around? What does Roby coming back mean to the defense? I mean, that would have been 8 guys instead of 7.
It solidifies an area of our team that I think Roby, when he's playing his best, he's as good as corners as in college football. I think he's got a brilliant career ahead of him. I think he's still a young player that has to develop some areas. So it just it stabilized. We got it. If we lose Roby and Travis, guys that played very well for us this year. Travis had a really good year. One of the most improved. As I've had a chance on the iPad to sit and rewatch stuff, he was one of our most improved players. So some stability in the back end. You have the 2 safeties back now, and you have Roby, so that's 3 out of 4. It's stable, and where our D line is not stable, and our linebacker position is not stable. So if you throw the back end in that, then we're dealing with an unstable defense. And so it's just big. That's big. Plus, I love Roby. I love who he is. Got a tremendous family. He's a guy that you like showing his face when you talk about Ohio State football. He's everything that you want. A good person, goes to school, takes care of his business, and represents the right way. And he's a very talented guy.
Front left, Doug?
Doug Lambert's Cleveland dealer. Urban, you talked about building this recruiting class. You like where it's headed so far. Just how different is it compared to what you were trying to do a year ago when you were coming in late, finishing that class? And do you see the effects of having a very good first year? What's that done for this class?
Yeah, it's I call flavor of the month. Ohio State really wasn't the flavor of the month a year ago. There's really quality guys. Kane, Noah Spence is obviously the key name that was jumped on board last year. But I don't want to say we're selecting, not recruiting, that's not correct either, but it's just a completely different approach. We know everybody we recruited last year was just give you the top 20 guys in positions, and I was on the phone trying to get them. Here we know we've been in the schools, we know who they are, we know where we're getting. So just a much different approach, and I do like where we're at.
You had mentioned after the season you really wanted to honor this team in this building, like that 12-0 team picture is up there already into the hallway.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind some days. I'm seeing there's a new one right when you come out of the, I don't know if you guys had access to that at some point down, that there's a hallway, we put a whole wall for tribute of them, and then also the other there's gonna be 2 walls devoted to those guys. Also, when you walk in the trophy room of the Woody Hayes, there's a banner. It's an undefeated season. When you walk in the indoor facility, which says the national championships will be, obviously it wasn't a national championship, it was just an undefeated season. So there's gonna be my history with players, and they like that. They like to come in and bring the children, bring their families in, and, Dad was part of that, or I was part of that. So we try to do the best we could. And they will get rings. Rings have been ordered. I'm not sure they get those.
And for successful college coaches, we've seen this both with Chip Kelly this offseason, with Brian Kelly this offseason, interviewing with NFL teams. Just what's it like when you're at the top at this level, and there is that next level, there is that NFL award? What's it like for you're in that position, being a successful college coach, and that being out there?
Well, probably we're humans, and so I'd say I don't want to speak on behalf of Chip, but it's flattering probably. Probably a guy like that would say that they're always looking for challenges. Not that the Pac-12 in Oregon, because he's got his hands full every week. So I'd say anytime that situation does show up, you kind of take a look and then you move on. If it is something that really is really appealing to you, you see what happens. That's what's going on now, I guess. When guys start interviewing for jobs and listening. But I can't speak on behalf of that. I've never talked to them about it.
Did you get a call? Did you? No. Right over here, Jeff.
Justin Rowe with Buckeye Sports Bowl. Just talking to some fans since the national championship game, they do have the question, what can Ohio State do to catch Alabama? I mean, it's almost like a one program thing. I'm just wondering, as coaches, do you ever think about, what can we do to catch one program, or is it more just sort of a general get better every day type of?
24/7, every second of our life. Yeah, I'm trying to, I won't say just catch them, but just, I just told you, A&M beat them. And I watched that game a bunch. I have great, I watched Oregon against Kansas State. Those are 2 of the finest programs in America. We're going to go catch them. Everybody's trying to catch the best. Some people are probably trying to catch us. So I think that's one thing. That's probably say the thing that there's certain things that coaches really dislike. There's other things that coaches love and savor and really, and that's that. There's nothing else I'd rather do than watch these other programs and kind of figure out how do we get that or do that or how do we beat that. And I think Alabama's certainly the national champion, but there's some really good teams out there that do some really things that kind of fit what we do, and we're in the process of doing that right now.
Left, Matt.
Matt, I know you can't get back the practices you didn't get for a whole, but is there, without them, does it make anything more important? Is anything different? This off season is also in spring ball. Do you change anything because of that?
Well, I already did change a bunch during the fall. We did a lot more things with the young players that maybe I would have done if I knew I had the bowl practice. But the way I look at it, we have to catch 15 practices by August. We're not as good as our rivals. We're not as good as our teams that we have to be. And so we have to find those. And I've had multiple meetings with our strength coach. There's going to be areas set up throughout the indoor facility where they can go out there and get their extra work in. Obviously, the football position, fundamentals of tackling, fundamentals of leverage, those are the things that you don't do that by sitting on a bench press. But a lot of it they have to do on their own. But we're going to make it user-friendly. The great thing about this facility is you have the weight room, you walk out 5 steps, and you're in a facility, an area where you can go do that. Someplace you have to walk 15 minutes, and it's non-functional. So we're going to, I don't know, I'll let you know by August, but I'm going to meet today, we have 15 practices to make up. We're not legally allowed to have a whistle around our neck and coach you. So if you want to be a very functional football team, there has to be some self-driven leadership amongst groups and collect those 15 practices. And it'll be interesting to see how it gets done. Because it's on the players. Coaches can't force them to do it.
Front row, Rusty.
Rusty Miller, AP. A year ago, you said, just referenced that a little while ago, you didn't really know a year ago what to expect when you were recruiting. A lot of people didn't know what to expect from Ohio State at that point. Like 5 minutes after the game ended, immediately people were coming out saying, oh boy, Ohio State, they're going to be really good, top 5 or whatever. Does that work against what you're trying to do with the players when people are trying to tell them, or they see perhaps how good everybody thinks they're going to be?
Does it work against it? No, I'd rather be that than saying we're not gonna be very good. So those people say, would you rather be the underdog or the favorite? We love to be the favorite all the time. That means we've got a good team, so no, I don't mind that. But that's where, it's very important to us to have the real, I told you the mantra is gonna be the truth. We're gonna get the truth in about 2:30 this afternoon. The truth is, we're very strong in certain areas. We made great strides in certain areas, some phenomenal. I mean, there was some phenomenal improvement in performances this year. However, there were quite a few that were below average performances. So we gotta get those fixed. And the saying is, if it's strong, enhance it and make it even stronger. If it's weak, fix it. So that's where that word truth comes back.
Got time for a couple more. Back right, Clay?
Coach, you were quoted, maybe incorrectly, that you didn't think many Big Ten teams recruited the South. Is that still? No. Do you see more of your rivals now when you're out and about? Or does your staff?
In the South?
In the South.
I don't know that. I look at rosters quite a bit. There's quite a few Southern players on Purdue and some other rosters. I noticed that. I think just the number, right now you're looking at, once again, I gotta make this clear, it's not that, in my opinion, everybody's own opinions, the quality is not the difference. There's some great quality players, but you're seeing just the quantity because of population shifts and everything else. There's more of them. And year to year that changes. There's some certain years where the state of Pennsylvania is just loaded, and then other years are maybe not. Same with Jersey, same with the Eastern Seaboard. So, but I imagine the entire country is recruiting. You start going to Texas, and some of those areas are just the masses of players are there.
Last question, Brandon?
I don't coach right here. You said last year that you talked about the wide receivers being one of those unprepared groups that you've been around. What are your expectations when you want to see from Braxton and the receivers, I guess, this offseason?
Yeah, monumental, no, not monumental, probably not the right word, drastic improvement. We still are not, we're much better than we were, but we weren't where we need to be, we're still not. And Braxton's a great young man, and Kenny Guyton, and they really improved, and I'm looking forward to another, and they'll tell you that we're looking for another giant step. I asked them to make a tremendous step. I remember I told you, if they show up in August without working in the summer, the great thing is they did. But you can tell how much further we still need to jump, so I'm expecting a big jump again. And if they big jump again, I think we're getting pretty close to where we need to be.
Herbie, can I ask you one last thing? You lost some,
Jerry.
okay. You lost some big time leaders from this team, like Zach Warren, John Simon. Who do you see emerging? Do you have your eye on a couple of guys that you think could fill that? Because that would seem to be a big void going into the.
It's a huge void. That's a great question. And Jordan Hall returning is a tremendous boost because he was elected captain last year. Looking for C.J. Barnett and Christian Bryant to step up. Guys that I've already had conversation with that have not been in that situation, but now they are, and that's Philly Brown and Carlos Hyde. Jack Meehorn is already there. He's already a leader, so we're asking him to take over a position that maybe Simon took, and that's the overall part. I love him. He's a tough guy. Shazir's a name that has always been kind of that young linebacker. Guess what? He's kind of a young linebacker, and he's earned it. He played very well through injuries the last half. So that question right there occupies a lot of my and Mickey Ronnie's time and thought. And the good thing is we get to reevaluate and we start Monday. So we're in the evaluation phase of who can fulfill those roles. Because that was, make no doubt about it now, that was a huge part of this successful season. It was the leadership of a John Simon, but it's also the developed leadership of a Zach Warren, of a Goebel, Sabino, and many others.
Coach,
Thank you.
very much.